A mystery involving the king of rock and roll's Tennessee mansion is a mystery no more. Federal authorities say they now know who hatched a complicated plot to snatch away Graceland from the family of Elvis Presley. Today, they arrested 53-year-old Lisa Finley. They charged the Missouri woman with mail fraud and identity theft. Prosecutors say she made it seem as if Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, signed a nearly $4 million loan agreement with her company and put Graceland up as collateral. Well, after Lisa Marie's death last year, Finley threatened to foreclose on the property and sell it to the highest bidder. But she is now behind bars. Joining me now to talk about this scheme is Tre Lovell. He's an entertainment trial attorney based in Los Angeles. Thanks so much for being here with me. Graceland, it is a historic landmark. It draws 500,000 people each and every year. The thought of it being sold, of course, shocked a lot of Elvis fans. But my question is, how was this scheme even able to happen?
You know, it's surprising. I mean, talk about a brazen scam to defraud. You know, we're talking fabricated loan documents, a fabricated deed of trust, forged signatures of Elvis Presley's daughter and a notary, a foreclosure notice. I mean, you know, they're hitting all the marks. But the second it's challenged, you know, it would just crumble, because once you start to really get into, you know, the nature of when these documents were signed, was there money transferred, et cetera, it would have fallen. But the fact that it got as far as it did, you know, is somewhat surprising.
It's certainly surprising. And we know a Tennessee judge stepped in before the sale could happen, or the auction could happen, and blocked that sale. This happened during a hearing in May. Today there was an arrest. Why did it take so long to arrest this woman at the center of this, Lisa Finley?
Well, you know, it was probably pretty complicated and intricate. I mean, you know, there was a filing in California. You know, there was a Florida notary. You know, there were deeds of trust in Tennessee. So, you know, they probably had to do a fair amount of digging to get to the documents and understand the whole scheme. So I'm not really surprised about that. But I guess, you know, what is surprising is just the lengths that this lady went. I mean, talk about going for a high mark. I mean, this wasn't just some, you know, $5-10 million, you know, mansion somewhere. This is Graceland. Of course, it's going to provoke publicity. It's going to be news. You know, the spotlight's going to be on you. It's a little surprising that she chose this, but she certainly took it, you know, pretty far.
Yeah, and the question for me is the end game, right? Like, you know, you're picking something that is a beloved monument, basically, at this point. You're thinking you're not going to get caught, or you're thinking it's not going to be stopped. Prosecutors say the interesting part is how this whole thing played out. They say the suspect, Lisa Finley, used the very public nature of Lisa Marie Presley's death to then prey on her family. In your experience, how susceptible are celebrities to these kinds of crimes and schemes?
You know, they are. I mean, everybody is. I will tell you, fraud scams nowadays are getting sophisticated. They're getting creative. They're getting very credible. You know, I personally handle a lot of fraud scams. I've represented, you know, 140 victims in Ponzi schemes before, you know, and they include doctors, lawyers, very intelligent businessmen. You know, they're able to create these schemes where they're very believable. And you really have to challenge them and get into them. You know, to find out that they're a scam. You know, here, you know, on its face, you've got loan documents with Elvis Presley's daughter's signature. You've got a notary. You've got a deed of trust that's been submitted to the county. You know, you have filings of foreclosure. I mean, on its face, they're doing everything that would seem to be a legal foreclosure. But once you kind of get into it, then it crumbles. How she could think she could actually go through with it, and that the estate's not going to do anything to challenge it, that's a little surprising. But she was able to really create the presumption that required court action to stop it, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, certainly. So as you mentioned, this really could happen to anyone, to just average Joes. So what do we all need to know to protect ourselves and our loved ones from similar schemes like this?
You know, identity theft is a big problem. Home title fraud is a big problem. You know, the fact that, you know, we have security breaches, data breaches all the time. All of us get those notices from AT&T and there's other people about data breaches. You know, there's this big dark web. So we're all very vulnerable. So what we need to do is just, you know, keep credit monitoring services going. Just make sure that we're aware fake credit cards being opened up, credit lines, things like that. You'd really have to monitor it because we're all very susceptible in the age of digital and age of the internet. No one's safe. And whether or not you're a celebrity and that you have fame and wealth, obviously you're going to be a subject, but so are other people. And people that are less, of public, ire. So we all need to be very careful because it's out there, and the second you turn around, you could be the victim.
Certainly. So interestingly enough, today's arrest comes 47 years to the day of Elvis Presley's death. Excuse me for that. What are the possible punishments here? This seems like it's a pretty sophisticated crime, so it could be lengthy.
Yeah, so you're looking at aggravated identity theft, which is a minimum of 2 years. You're looking at mail fraud, which can be up to 20 years in incarceration. So we're looking at, she could be, serving more than 20 years. The pretty hefty imprisonment and sentences and things like that. But it's really, they're going to go after her for deterrence. This scam is in the public media. People are watching it. And so they're going to go after her hard to educate the public and say, hey, don't do identity theft because you can get serious time. So I think they're going to really go after her on this, partly to exercise deterrence.
Right, use her as an example. Entertainment trial attorney Tre Lovell, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.